Hey guys, I went live about 30 seconds early. I just thought that it would be maybe a good idea just to spend some time together on a Friday afternoon. You'll notice I look like I have been sitting around all day because I have been sitting around all day. I've been playing my new Nintendo Switch that Mikey Harlow convinced me to buy for, well, I'd had a couple cocktails, but I'm enjoying it. Um, and really just trying to relax and decompress after the election, and just considering the aftermath and thinking about lots of different variables, frankly, lots of different variables that have nothing to do with who ultimately ends up winning, although I'm sure we will be talking about that. Hi everyone in the chat. I mean, I definitely, guys, I want this live stream to be more of a conversation with us. Also, if you are in my locals community, I do actually have a live chat pulled up in locals. So if you have stuff or questions you want to ask me and you're a member of my locals community, that's going to be the best place for you to go. I do have that on the screen right next to the live chat that I've got on YouTube. And, you know, in YouTube, typically, like I take questions from super chats and locals. I will take whatever questions I can see that pop up in there. It's like an extra perk for being a member of that community. Um, and you know, I want to talk about several things in this live stream. I want to talk about my thoughts about the election. I want to talk about where I think all this is going and what we should be prepared for. I want to talk about where I believe that where people's heads should be at given everything that's going to go on, and I want to talk about just plans that I have and things I'm thinking about, because the reality is for me, okay, listen, I'm not going to like freak anyone out. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not like and that was never, but my plans were always going to change after the election anyway. I've been fighting for several months for the outcome I want in the election, and there are just simply things that I want to do with my life that have nothing to do around campaigning. You know, I never really, this was never an aspiration for me, and it's been kind of a really odd predicament for me to be in. But I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to get back to doing some stuff that I like doing, and I think that you guys will like some of the things that I'm thinking about. And of course, there's going to be ways for you to participate as well. But let's talk about just off the top my thoughts about the election. So here's the thing. I think, you know, my general philosophy with life is that things happen for a reason, and things you have what I try to do now, and this wasn't always the case throughout my life, but what I try to do now is approach everything with the attitude that everything is going to work out to my best advantage, to my own greatest good. I mean, some people in the last couple days, you know, I've been guys, I'm on a little bit of a state. I'm gonna be honest, and I think it's because I am just incredibly burnt out. I have never been this tired in my life. I think it really all hit me when I was flying home from Florida, where I spent election night with the walkaway crew, and then flew home, and I think it all just hit me, and I ended up basically breaking down in tears on an airplane. Looking like a crazy person, because I was just exhausted. I was mentally exhausted. I was physically exhausted. It's been a long several months. But you know, a lot of people have said, you know, Carlin, you're totally blackpilling. Not blackpilling. No, I don't believe in blackpilling. I fundamentally believe that human beings are good, even when I disagree with them, even when I think they're behaving like raging asshats. I generally think that human beings are good, and I do generally have a pretty hopeful vision for the future. And because, guys, so much of what we do, it doesn't even really matter who is the president. It doesn't. And I think that fundamentally, we have to take the attitude that everything, every single thing that we experience is happening for a reason. Now, I know I've said this a lot in the videos I've been posting over the last several days, but I'm going to say it again because I never make the assumption that people actually watch the videos I post. I believe that the world is a perfect place. I believe that everything we experience is a result of what we contribute. And if we want to experience something differently, then we have to change what we are contributing. I also think back to the morning after the 2016 election for me, when I woke up and I looked at my phone. And guys, I mean, I see some, you know, people telling me in the chat like Trump won, Trump won. I'm not saying anything either way. I think we don't know yet, and I think we're going to have to figure that out over the next several weeks, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But I've been thinking back to when I woke up the morning, after the 2016 election, and I looked at my phone and I saw that Donald Trump had won, and I had gone to bed with that sinking feeling in my stomach that he was probably gonna win, and I thought it was just the worst thing ever, and I cried, and I called Joshua, and I yelled at him because I was so angry that I didn't have anyone else to yell at, and he yelled right back at me because he was, like, not actually in the best place either about that. Um, and, I really thought it was the worst thing that was gonna happen. I thought that my life was over. I thought Trump was gonna tank the economy. It was gonna destroy my business. I really I imagined in my head the absolute worst case scenario of what would happen, and none of it was true. None of it was true. None of it was true. But it was in the imagining of the worst possible case scenario that I kinda shot myself in the foot, to be honest. I shot myself in the foot because I acted as though the worst case scenario was an inevitable possibility, and so the message I wanna send to all of you is that, we don't first of all, we don't know what's going to happen. We do not know what's going to happen. This is going to go on for weeks. It's gonna have to be litigated in the courts. We don't know what's gonna happen, but what I would encourage all of you to do off the top is no matter what, no matter what, do not convince yourself that this is the worst case scenario. Do not convince yourself that this is the worst possible thing that could happen. Do not convince yourself that this is going to destroy your life or put you and your family in jeopardy. Do not convince yourself of any of those things, because the moment that we have that internal dialogue in our heads is the moment that we start acting as though that is an inevitable possibility. And you know what happens when we do that? We create self fulfilling prophecies. We create self fulfilling prophecies. I cannot tell you guys how many times in work environments I've had conversations with people where they're like, my boss hates me. I'm going to get fired at any moment. And they convince themselves that their boss is out to get them. Their boss is going to fire them, that everything is horrible, that everything is bad. I also have conversations with their boss, and their boss is like, "Oh, they're a great employee. I love them. That's why I have you coaching them, because I see so much potential in them." And there's a complete dichotomy between the two. But what happens when that person can't get out of their head that their boss is about to fire them at any moment, even though that's not true, is they end up acting as though they're going to get fired. They end up screwing things up. They end up mouthing off. They end up creating problems. And eventually the boss comes around and like fires them when they never had anticipated doing it before. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. And the same is true in life in general. The same is true in life. If you imagine that the worst possible thing is going to happen and you convince yourself that that's the inevitable thing, and you start making all your decisions around that inevitability, then you are setting yourself up to experience that worst case scenario. And so that is something I am refusing to do either way. Regardless of if Trump wins or if Biden wins, I absolutely refuse to imagine that if Biden does make it in, that this is the worst possible case scenario, because we just don't know. And one of the things that I said to some of my walkaway friends is essentially that you know what, hey man, let's imagine that Biden does get in there for a second. This could actually be really good, because inevitably they're going to screw things up even more, which is going to result in more people waking up. And that's a good thing. That is part of a natural evolution that could take place. So it could absolutely be a good thing in the long term. May suck in the short term, but in the long term, it could actually be a really good thing. But let's talk about what I think is going to happen for a second. And guys, I see your super chats coming in. I promise you, I will answer every single super chat at the back half of the live stream. I just have some stuff that I want to get off my mind first. But let's talk about what I saw happen on election night and what I think we're going to experience. I mean, listen, I think that there is absolutely, listen, if you guys watched my live stream with Joshua on election night, Joshua predicted all of this. Joshua said over and over and over again, he was pulling the same tarot cards over and over and over again, saying there's going to be shenanigans, there's going to be chicanery, there's going to be stuff that like they're like, not, this is not above board, and it's going to be a fight. So, regardless of whether or not you believe a psychic or not, he did actually predict this. And he had been predicting this for weeks. He'd been saying the same thing for weeks. And so I was not at all surprised that we ended up in this scenario. I will say that I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because you know, If we look at the numbers when I went to bed right after Trump's speech on election night, so what was it, like around 2:30 in the morning or something like that, like, the numbers look so strong for him, so strong. And then the states come out and they say, "We're gonna stop the counting." And that was part of why I went to bed, honestly. I was like, "Well, there's not gonna be any more news tonight because they've all announced that they're not gonna count." And then around 4 AM, all of a sudden, magically, ballots start showing up that all end up being for Joe Biden. Like 100% of them end up being for Joe Biden. And this is all based on publicly available election data from the states. This is not a conspiracy theory. You can go and look at the data for yourself. Because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think that there are a lot of people right now that are throwing around some conspiracy theories, frankly, that I'm uncomfortable with. But there's also a lot of really valid points to look at that are circulating online. And so long story short, I think there are reasons that we want to question the results that we're seeing. And I think that there are many reasons why this needs to go through a process. There needs to be, recounts in many states. I think there should be audits in many states. This is probably going to have to go through the courts. What I think is probably going to happen in the next day or so is that the media is going to declare that Joe Biden is the winner. I think I read just before I came on the stream that Joe Biden is planning basically a victory speech coming up today. So he's probably going to declare himself the winner. I think the media is going to declare him the winner. I think that an awful lot of people are going to come out and say, like, I don't even know. I don't even know why this is continuing. And of course, what they're forgetting. And I remember this, even though it happened back when I was in college, but they're forgetting that when Al Gore was contesting like 500 and some odd votes in Florida in the year 2000, he dragged this out for like a month and a half fighting this battle. That went into December. And the media cheered him on and the Democrats cheered him on. And listen, I was probably one of those people cheering him on because I wasn't paying enough attention to know that he was only calling for recounts in select areas where he thought he could gain more ballots, but not in areas where he didn't think he was going to gain more ballots. So I think that it is perfectly fair to say that there needs to be a process that this is going to go through. I think that the only way that Trump is going to pull this out is if the courts decide that there's a lot of shenanigans going on. That's what I think. And I think it will probably go to the Supreme Court. And I think that if it does, thank God we have ACB on there as that vote. And listen, we don't even know, guys, where the Supreme Court is going to net out on this. I mean, it is not uncommon for a certain type of president to appoint justices thinking they're going to decide in one direction and they end up going in completely the opposite direction. And I think that that's perfectly okay. But if it does go to the Supreme Court and they do kind of bring their A team and it gets decided against Trump, then I think we all need to accept that. And I think that that's just got to be what it is. If it gets to that point and they decide against him for whatever reason, we need to accept it and we need to move on. And the reality is that no matter what happens, one of the things that I fear the most in this whole scenario is that I'm going to watch the right become the monsters they're fighting on the left. That's what I'm afraid of. And you're saying I've heard many of you say, "Oh, Carlin, we don't do that. We don't go out and we don't loot and we don't riot." And that may be true, but here's the thing: I have seen many instances over the past several months where what the right does is they overcorrect. They overcorrect because a lot of times they're sitting back, they don't do much of anything, they don't go out to rallies, they don't do any of this stuff, and then someone gets in their face and they get really pissed off and the right overcorrects and they go beyond the pale. And I've even seen this, guys, in the last week or so, even before the election. I've started to see this among people that are not leftists, at all in any stretch of the imagination. Some of them are former leftists that then walked away and kind of, left that behind. I have seen this already start to happen where people are starting to, I don't know if it's the stress or the anxiety or what's going on, but I've seen so many people that I once respected actively right before my eyes become the monsters they're fighting. They start to turn into SJWs to form these little outrage mobs to cancel people who disagree with them. I've already seen this happen in the last week. And that is my biggest fear because I think that if the right doesn't take if the right goes beyond what I think they should go beyond, then everything really is completely lost. And that's my biggest fear is that, you know For all of our for all of for the sake of the country, we cannot continue to tear each other apart. And I blame the media for the state of where things are right now. I absolutely blame them. I think they're to blame for all of this. And I think that there's going to have to be a reckoning with that at some point. I have no idea what that looks like, but the only thing that we can be responsible for at the end of the day is ourselves. I can't be responsible for what CNN chooses to do. The only thing I can be responsible for is myself. I can't be responsible for what any other YouTubers choose to say or do, or flare if they choose to fan the flames, or if they choose to have guests that are fanning the flames, or any of these things. I can't be responsible for any of that. The only thing I can be responsible for is myself. And you guys have the same exact responsibility. You have to be responsible for what you are contributing to this situation, and you have to be able to look in the mirror and know that you are contributing in a way that was going to facilitate whatever outcome it is you want. Maybe some of you want a civil war. I don't. I don't. What I want is for this country to find some way, regardless of the outcome, to come back together again. Now, sadly, I do think if Trump ends up pulling it out, I think we're going to have another 4 years of fighting. If Biden pulls it out, I think we're going to have no one is ever going to trust the election process again. And this is honestly one of the saddest things for me about this whole scenario is that regardless, no, there's going to be no trust in our electoral process again. And that is the fault of the people in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan who are screwing around. And it is the fault of the media for lying to us. But we can't control any of that. The only thing that we can control is trying to find a way to come to bring our best selves to the situation, for lack of a better term. Because this is untenable, guys. It's untenable. The fighting, the warring. I mean, I'll just ask you this and I'll look for answers in the chat. Is this a society that you want to live in? Is this what you want? Do you want to live in a place where we are constantly at each other's throats? Do you want to live in a place where we constantly are seeking out the worst in people rather than looking for the best in people? Do you want to be in this constant place of playing this gotcha game? I mean, maybe that is what you want. Maybe we have gone too far down the addicted to outrage bandwagon. I don't know, but it's not what I wanted. I'm seeing a lot of you say no in the chat, no in the chat, no in the chat. Um my favorite person, you're about to get blocked, my friend, so you can keep going, but I'll just keep blocking you, or I'll just block you immediately if you keep going down that route. So I mean, we all have to be mindful, and we all have to be mindful of contributing to the reality that we want rather than the reality that we don't want. So I think that this is going to end up at the Supreme Court. I don't think Trump's going to give up fighting, and I don't think people should give up fighting. To be honest, I don't think there is a balance to be had between going out and standing up for what you believe in, and going too far. And I don't have a clear distinction of what too far is. I think we can all agree that probably burning stuff down and rioting and breaking things and stealing people's stuff, that's going too far. But I also want you guys to be able to look in the mirror and to know that you did everything that you could. So if you're near one of these places where these protests and rallies are happening, go out to them. Please, for the love of God, go out to them. Listen, I traveled the country for the last 4 months with Walkaway, doing rallies all over the place. And we had people come out, and some of them were bigger than others, and it was fantastic. But after every single rally, I got messages from people saying, I was too scared to come. I had other things to do. They make excuses for why they can't. Well, guys, if you made excuses and you are regretful that maybe you didn't make it out, now is literally your last shot. It is literally your last shot in this election cycle to stand up for what you believe in. So do it now. I mean, listen, like, I'm at home because frankly, I'm really burnt out and I need a day or 2 to recharge. I think I'm finally starting to get back to some place of normalcy, but I'm not all there yet. Also, the reason I'm home right now is because my anniversary was yesterday, and I haven't barely seen my husband in 4 months, and I was so exhausted that I couldn't even celebrate my anniversary with him last night, but I am hopeful to, that we're gonna be able to actually go out and do something in the next couple days. But the reality is this, is that Brandon's out there. Mikey's out there. Shamika's out there. They're out in Michigan right now, I believe. I want to say they were. I'm not exactly sure where they were today. Maybe Detroit, but they are actually on their way to Lansing tonight, and I think they're going to be doing a rally in Lansing tomorrow. If this keeps going up, guys, I do actually plan on heading back out as soon as I get like a little juice left in me. But we just have to wait and see. I know that they don't know how long they're going to be out there. I know that there's stuff going on in North Carolina. There's stuff going on in Arizona. I'm sure there's going to be stuff happening in Georgia. There's stuff happening in Nevada. So, like, I'm sure there's obviously things happening in Philadelphia. If this is something you care about and you are near one of those areas, then now is the time to go out and stand up and make your voice heard. Guys, I've been doing this for 4 friggin' months. Like, if I wasn't exhausted, if I wasn't physically and emotionally exhausted, I would be back out there. So I don't want any of you to leave anything on the table. One of the things that I said on the morning after the election, as we were kind of leaving the house in Florida, I said to people that everyone should be proud of what they did and know that we put it all out there. We never gave up. And I want all of you to feel the same way. I really do. I want all of you to be able to look in the mirror and know that you fought for what you believed in. You did it in a legal way. You did it in a way that was peaceful, but you stood up for yourself. That is the most important thing. Oh, Sebastian Gorka in the chat's getting blocked. Oh, look at that. That's easy. Bing. Guys, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat for some little trolly trolls, so we're gonna deal with them as we can. So let me see. I want to make sure that I'm covering. I have my bullet points over here. One of the things that I've been thinking about is, and I've alluded to this already, is that there is a bigger plan here. There is a bigger plan. There is that we don't know. And that goes back to my spiritual beliefs. And the thing of it is that we can't abandon our beliefs when the going gets tough or when things don't work out the way that we want them to. And so I do believe there is a bigger plan. I had dinner with a friend a couple weeks ago in Nashville. Mikey was there too, actually, and she's a person that she's like she's like everything. She's like my like she and I have the same belief system, and she's much better at it than I am. But one of the things that we were talking about is that we believe that this work, like, we're going through an evolution right now as a society. We're going through a change as a society, and one of the things that can actually facilitate that change is for things to just fall apart, and then you build back up again. And it's not a pleasant process to go through, but that can actually be the quickest way for things to evolve. And so if Biden gets in there, I have to imagine that there is a bigger plan that I don't know, that I don't fully understand, that says that that's what we need in there right now, and the rest of us need to keep showing up and fighting for what we believe in. And listen, there are a lot of things to fight for. There are a lot of things to fight for. And there were going to be a lot of things to fight for, regardless of if Trump won or not. One of the reasons that I started speaking up about all of this nonsense is because critical race theory started to invade my professional life and my personal life. You guys know the knitting stuff, but it started to invade my professional life as well. And seeing that this was going on in workplaces and seeing the detrimental impact that it had in workplaces, that's that's only going to get worse, frankly, if Biden gets elected, because Biden's going to end up rescinding Trump's executive order banning critical race theory from the federal government, and then we all need to start again. Like, that executive order was what got me on the Trump train so emphatically, because it was something that helped millions of people not have to go through this indoctrination training. Well, guess what, guys? If Biden gets in, we all need to be out there fighting that battle harder than we have ever fought it before, because it is going to come back to workplaces with a vengeance, and it's going to be unstoppable. And our federal tax dollars are going to be paying for that nonsense. We need to be out there fighting. The other place we need to be fighting is in the education system, because the things that are being taught in schools right now, the Black Lives Matter curriculum that has made its way into public education is absolutely ridiculous. It is teaching kids to hate this country. It is teaching kids things before the logic and ration function of their brain has even developed. It is teaching them that this is a fundamentally bad, evil, racist place. You know, one of the things I find so interesting about the results is that is that is that the minority vote for Trump went up across the board. The only demographic that went down for Trump was white men. And you want to know why that happened? Because of this damn critical race theory training that has invaded everything and has taught straight white men to hate themselves. And that is one of the absolute saddest things that I can imagine. And that has nothing at all to do with who's president. So we have a lot of battles to keep fighting. We have a lot of work that is left to do. And we need to get up. We need to dust ourselves off. We need to get up. This is going to go on for weeks. This battle for the White House going to go on for weeks, and we cannot sit back and simply complain and simply, spread crazy ideas about everything, because the reality is that that doesn't help. It doesn't help the situation. It doesn't help to make this side look like the sane, rational side. And again, there are absolutely irregularities that need to be looked into, but we also have to be rational, guys. We have to be rational. And and we have to focus on the things that matter. And the other thing is, listen, Trump isn't going to go away if he doesn't make it. He's absolutely not going to go away. I mean, come on. That is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Trump is not going to be able to help himself. Trump is probably going to like buy a network or something and give himself his own like primetime show or something. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I don't actually think that's going to happen. I do actually think Trump could buy a network. Wouldn't it be funny if Trump bought OAN? I mean, I don't know. I just made that up. But I do actually think that could happen to something to that effect, because Trump is not going to be able to help himself. I don't know that I believe that Donald Trump always had like altruistic motives for becoming president. I don't know if I believe that. I don't. But I think by the end he did. And I think, by now he's actually fighting for something. And I think that he's going to keep fighting for it. Trump can't shut his mouth. Trump wouldn't shut his mouth if he tried. And so he's not going to go anywhere. And I think the reality is that he has done so much good in terms of the Republican Party. What I'm really worried about, and what I see a lot of freaking old guard Republicans doing, is not speaking out as strongly as I want them to, is not defending as strongly as I want them to. Um, I would be very afraid if Trump doesn't make it. I am afraid that the Republican Party is going to go back to what it was before Trump, and I think that would be very, very bad. I think it would be and that's one of the reasons I'm becoming a Republican. It's not because I agree with a lot of people in the Republican Party. It's not. It's because I like the way the party has evolved. I align with the party on issues that are the most important to me. For the things that I don't align with them on, I see that there's room for reasoning, and I see that there's room for negotiation, even if not everyone agrees with that. And the only people I see pushback from are the old guard Republicans that are trying to fight this evolution of the party. This is a new party. And I think that the only way that it stays that way is if people fight and change it from the inside and solidify the evolution that has happened under Donald Trump. And if that doesn't happen, guys, like, both parties are going to look fundamentally the same. They're going to look the same. They might disagree on a few issues, but they're both fundamentally going to be establishment parties, and I don't think that is good for anyone. So That's kind of that's the we just need to make sure we are keeping our eye on the things that matter. Donald Trump, regardless of whether or not he wins, is still going to be out there. And now he has mobilized a mass army of people that are going to be there to fight the battle, and to continue to show up. And we have to continue to show up. We have to continue to fight no matter what. I think that this is a good time to really think about what the things are that you care about the most, what your principles are, what your values are. And I think that this is the time more than ever to fight for what you believe in. Um, all right, I want to do a quick pause and I'm just going to pull up my locals chat and I'm going to kind of see what's going on in my locals community. Guys, just so you know, I will be focusing significantly more of my social media time on my locals community going forward. If you are not familiar with locals, it's Dave Rubin's platform. It's awesome. It's basically homes for content creators where there is no censorship, but it's also like social media for adults. It is free to join it, but if you want to participate in discussions, you have to pay a little fee depending on and your fee depends on which creator. In my community, it's like $5 a month to be able to participate in the discussions. And what that does is it keeps the trolls out. And so there are no trolls in my community. It is like the nicest place in the world. We do weekly Zoom calls where everyone gets to get together and participate. I'm actually going to be adding more Zoom calls. So we're going to be doing many times a week. We do book club together. We do debate club together. And it's just a really, really nice place to be. The information is in the description below, kb.locals.com. I will be spending much, 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 much more time there now that the election is over, because that's just honestly the place that I like to be on social media, surrounding myself with good, smart people who are the adults in the room, who are interested in having interesting conversations. And you are all welcome to join. All points of views are welcome. Listen, guys, you don't have to love Trump. You don't. You just have to behave like an adult. You didn't have to vote for Trump. I don't even care if you voted for Biden. I don't even care if you're a staunch leftist. If you can come and act like an adult and have conversations with people and find productive ways to disagree and dialogue, then you are more than welcome in my locals community. It is not a safe space. It is for people who are sane and rational and don't want to cause trouble. All right, so I'm just going to look at my locals chat really, really quickly. I see people in the locals chat are very excited that I'm promoting locals because they always love it when new people join. And we've had a lot of new people lately, which is awesome. Let's see. And I'm going to say to the people who are watching in locals, guys, if you have any questions or anything you want me to say, like now's the time to chat it in. I see a couple of you guys chatting stuff in. Well, I let that go for a second because I can't go back and scroll through the whole chat. What I do want to do is get into some super chats that have come in. So I'm just going to start at the top. Naruto says, whether Trump wins or loses, we're now in an era of Trump conservatives, whether they like it or not. I think that that is very true, but I also think that that's a precarious thing, because I'll tell you guys, I think that the Republican Party in some ways is just as divided as the Democratic Party. And I saw this really clearly when I put out there that I was thinking about becoming a Republican, because I got a lot of support. I would say probably like 60% of the messages I got were supportive, like, yes, oh my God, this is awesome. And the other part I got was, no, don't do it. Don't bring your liberal values into our party. Stay away. Go fix the Democrats. So I do think that the Republican Party is not fully on board with Trump Republicans yet. I do. And so this is a precarious position that we find ourselves in. And I think it could be an easily losable thing. Listen, guys, who did not speak out in favor of Trump until like today after they were cajoled? People like Lindsey Graham didn't speak out. People like Mitch McConnell, they went back off into their little meeting room and they started meeting about how to work best with a Biden presidency. That's exactly what they started doing. And so if the old guards have a chance to take back over, you absolutely know they're going to. And everyone that believes that this evolution of the GOP is a really positive thing, we have to make sure that stays the way it is. Elizabeth says, my liberal boss and I talked today after I broke down. We had a healthy conversation. She's saying the same thing you are. I'm feeling better now. I mean, that's a really, really positive thing. Let's make sure we have more than that. frustrated, me, I don't know how to pronounce that. We're all afraid of communism, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not as afraid of communism, to be honest, as I am about, I don't know. Again, I think that everything happens for a reason. I don't think. Oh god, I'm about to say something that could potentially not age well. I'm not as afraid as some people are as full-blown communism taking over. I'm not. I think our constitution is stronger than that. I think that one of the victories of the Trump administration is the amount of judges that they have put on the bench. I think is a really really positive thing, and is not that's not something that's ever going to go away. That's not something that the left can change. And so I believe in the system, and I believe that it is strong enough to withstand this. I do. Now, will there be fighting involved around it? Yeah, probably. There'll be like it's not going to be perfect, but I'm not as afraid of it as some people are. Okay. Patriot Teen says the establishment that claimed 2016 was interfered with by foreign interference is denying 2020 is being interfered with by domestic fraudulent voting. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. Of course, the left has no values. They only do what they think is best to do to maintain their power. And that is really all that they care about at the end of the day. Naruto says California deserves a slow clap for rejecting racism. I absolutely agree with this, guys. Let's give California a slow clap for rejecting that insane proposition to get rid of like discrimination laws. That was fabulous. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting that to absolutely pass, and I was thrilled to see it was voted down. The other thing I was thrilled to see that was voted down is that thing that made that required like Lyft and Uber to make their independent contractors employees. This also, by the way, impacts freelancers in California. No, on occasion, I do actually write for Forbes. I think I'm technically a Forbes contributor, even though I haven't written anything in the past couple of months because I've been so busy. But what happened when California passed that stupid proposition is a lot of freelance writers had to move out of California if they wanted to be able to continue to work. And Forbes actually had to say, like, if you're in California, like you can only do this much for us, and that's just like all we can do. And so I think that these are really good things. There's actually a lot of good news about this election. All right, I'm just gonna quickly look over in my locals for a second and see what people have set in. Um, let's see. Looks like you guys are just chatting away, honestly. People are talking about the Zoom calls we do in my locals, which is actually one of my favorite parts. They're my favorite parts of the week. And we're going to be doing a lot more of those. Yeah, so someone in my locals pointed out that Lindsey Graham donated $500,000 to Trump's legal defense, and I think that that's great. Like, good on Lindsey Graham, but he should have spoken up sooner. He should have. All right, I'm going back to super chats right now. Let's see. Naruto also says the House is looking at the smallest majority since FGR's New Deal. Again, I think this is really good. I think it's also good that it looks as though the Senate is going to maintain in the Republicans, which should block some of the more insane crap. Should Biden and Harris get in there, and I think that that's really good. And there's a lot of victories to be had here. I mean, listen, I think, one of the things that their voter fraud absolutely failed on is that they have all these ballots that were just votes for Joe Biden, right? They didn't vote for any of the down ballot races, probably because they had to produce so many of them because they had to take, like, it takes time to do that. And as a result of that, I mean, the GOP are winning House races. They're going to maintain the Senate. It's all a really really good indication. And in what universe people really think that the GOP could gain seats in the House, maintain the Senate, that there's record minority turnout for Trump, and that Trump doesn't win, and that was fair. Yeah, okay. People are nuts. People are absolutely nuts if they think that. But most people are just low information voters. Leap of Faith says, and by the way, I understand that because I was one of those people. I understand that. I do. I get it. And that's part of why it's so important that we need to continue to speak up, and we need to, guys, honestly, for lack of a better term, we need to not sound like crazy people when we speak up. We need to not sound like crazy people because there's so much work left to do in terms of getting people to wake up, getting people to walk away. This is just, one of the things that I love about Shamika Michelle. And guys, if you haven't followed Shamika Michelle, you need to. Shamika Michelle is the person I want to be when I grow up. She is a goddess. She's amazing. But one of the things that she said at a lot of her walkaway speeches was that she's Harriet Tubman, man. She's going to go back and she's going to keep bringing people. She's going to go back and keep rescuing people. She's going to keep going back until everyone has woken up. And that's the attitude we need to have, because walkaway doesn't stop just because there was an election. Okay? It doesn't stop just because there was an election. There are still a whole lot of people. We only 12.5% of the black vote. I'm sorry, that should have been 20%. It should have been. And it looks as though a pretty big percentage of the LGBT community has turned around, which I think is really good. Latinos, man. Latinos showed up, especially in Florida, and that was awesome. But there's still a whole lot more work to do to show people that they do have more than one choice, to show people that the GOP has evolved. It is not the same party that it was even 4 years ago. These are all positive developments that we need to keep pushing. All right. Let's see. Leap of Faith says bad behavior gets worse until there is an extinction event where it becomes unpalatable even to people with the bad behavior. This could be an extinction event. I mean, it absolutely could be. I think what I see happening is that people are learning how to stand up for themselves. People are learning how to fight back. And sometimes people need to be backed into a corner for them to actually get it together to fight back. So that is a really, really positive thing. And if the best gift that Donald Trump gives us is that the average person figures out how to personally empower themselves and learns how to find their voice and learns how to speak up for what they believe in, then that is greater than any of the policy that he has passed. I'm sorry, that is a greater gift to the regular everyday people out there in learning how much power you have and that you don't have to back down and that you can stand up for what you believe in. That is an absolute gift that he's given us. Actually, I'm going to address something I just saw pop up in the chat just randomly. Puma something or other says interview Nico House, and I don't know who the pasta person is. I do know Nico though, and I actually really do like Nico. I met Nico in Milwaukee at Better Discourse, and I did talk to him in Milwaukee about bringing him on my channel. Nico is one of those rare people on the left that likes to have conversations with people he disagrees with, and I think he's an exceptionally smart person. He's an extraordinary debater. He knows his stuff. He knows it backwards and forwards. I don't always agree with his interpretation, but I absolutely I would not mind reaching out to Nico at all to bring him on the channel, and I will be bringing more guests on in the coming weeks as I kind of recover. I want to get back into my regular routine that I had of bringing guests on the channel, having conversations. So if you guys have suggestions for people you want me to bring on, please, leave a comment, let me know. And I will absolutely make that happen because we're going to get back into a groove with more consistent content and stuff like that. Hank Reardon has words of wisdom as always. Hank says it is absolutely incumbent upon us to lead the healing process of our country. We can't trust the government to do it, nor the left. I absolutely agree with that, Hank. This has got to be led by everyday people, and it has to be led despite what the media is going to try to do. This has to be led by everyday people. We have to be living by an example that other people can follow, okay? This is going to be really, really important. And again, I'm not saying don't fight back. I'm not saying concede. I'm not saying give up. I am saying that we cannot become the monsters that the left became. We cannot become a resistance machine to everything that the left does. We have to stand for something. What the problem with the left is that they don't stand for anything. They do not have principles. They do not have values. They do not have anything that they believe in other than what they want and maintaining power at any given moment. We have to be better than that. We have to know what we stand for. We have to stand up for what we believe in. We have to have, listen, guys, if Biden wins this election, It's not going to be because Joe Biden stood for anything. He doesn't stand for anything other than orange man bad. That we cannot let this become this back and forth where, oh, well, all you did was orange man bad for 4 years. Well, now all we're going to do is Democrats bad, Democrats evil, Democrats socialist, libtard, 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 libtard. Like, we can't do that shit. It is not tenable, guys. We have to know what our values are and we have to stand for something rather than standing against something. Okay. Hank also says we need to be the side of inclusiveness and tolerance that we claim to be, not to take a knee, not to attack without cause. That is absolutely true as well. Listen, like the left went around for 4 years saying they were the side of tolerance and kindness and acceptance and openness, but not for you. Not if you did this, not if you did that, not if you use words I don't like, not based on who you vote for. We can't do that. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to keep waking up. And when that happens, the worst thing you can do is say, I told you so, or you didn't do it soon enough, or, where were you before the election? Don't do any of that crap, man. We need to welcome them with open arms. Remember, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in its own just time. Everything happens in its own due course. And we have to be there to welcome people when they come over to our side. We just do. All right. Popping back into my locals just to see what you guys are talking about. And you guys are just chit-chatting. I love my locals. So guys, just so you know, what we do in my locals whenever I do one of these live streams is there is actually a live chat going on in my locals right now, with people just typing, like chatting and sharing ideas back and forth. And I so strongly encourage you guys to all just go join my locals, go check it out. You're gonna see how different it is. Again, you can join for free. Um, if you use the promo code welcome because you want to try the premium features, if you use the promo code welcome, just all one word, all caps, you're gonna get your first month for free if you want to try the premium features. But if you just want to see what it's all about, and it's completely free to join, I post all my videos there ad free, so you don't have to listen to 17 billion YouTube ads that they place on there. So that'll be there as well. And definitely, like, the community is only going to be expanding. We're only going to be doing more stuff now that the election is over. So I would encourage everyone to come on in and join us. All right. And by the way, guys, I have a whole bunch of viewers right now, so I want to say, if you please smash that like button, let YouTube know if you're enjoying this. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would encourage you, or ask you to subscribe if you want more content. When things are normal, and this is going to start, I'm going to start getting into this, probably starting tomorrow, but definitely next week. I do daily content around news, politics, culture, all sorts of things that I'm interested in. So, please hit subscribe if you're interested in hearing more from me. And, I'll try my very best not to let you down. I don't know. Usually I have more rest than what I have right now. All right, I'm going back to super chats. David says, we live in a time of unprecedented technology, a camera in every pocket. Wars need no longer be fought with blood, but with optics. Convert moderates. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And guys, I do consider myself still to be a moderate. To be honest, I really do still consider myself to be a moderate, but I just happen, on the issues that are most important to me, I just happen to align more with the right now than I do with the left. And so that's where I have to go for the time being, because I do think it's important to, again, solidify this evolution of the GOP. I think it's really important. I'm going to drink some coffee real quick. Hang on. Yeah, I'm still drinking coffee at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever. Mm. All right. Let me see. Have Tome says, what about the mob creating searchable database with Google Map locations of regular citizens that donated to Trump, Truth and Reconciliation Department? I mean, it's funny. I texted someone on the morning of the election, and I said, either this is going to be the best day ever, or we're all getting carted off to the gulag in the morning, and there really is no middle ground to that. But honestly, I think that on this issue, I think, well, maybe I hope is a better word. I hope that the left is more bark than bite on this one. And who knows, man, maybe if they get Biden, they will they will. Hang on, hang on. Adam's here. Adam says to smash that like button, so you don't have to listen to me. You do have to listen to Adam. So everyone say hi. Make sure if you're not subscribed to Adam's channel, make sure you're heading over there as well. But no, with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and stuff, I have to wonder if they get their Biden presidency that they so desperately want, will they just forget about all that? I mean, maybe. I think that a lot of this nonsense has been driven by absolute derangement. And what I say by derangement is I mean that like they can't actually see the truth right in front of them. Maybe if they get what they want, maybe the derangement will go away. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but again, I'm gonna hope for the best and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna keep going in the super chats. Elijah Snow says, my father was in the civil rights movement in the 60s. When Selma happened, Dr. King's supporters and allies thought they were about to lose. First they insult you, then they attack you, then you win. I mean, yeah, I think that that's very, very true. Stephanie Supernaut says, here's some hope, even California in all places. Let me just look at, there's a link that got in. I'll just chat out the link that Stephanie sent in so you guys can see if you want to go. I mean, it looks like some interesting information about California being secretly libertarian and all the proposition outcomes in California. That's something I'll take a closer look at later. Thank you for that. Walla Ben, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Stop the steel rallies outside all state capitals at noon tomorrow, just in case anyone wants to go. Someone emailed me earlier and they asked me if I had heard about anything in New Hampshire. But I haven't heard about anything here. I mean, that's not to say it's not happening, but honestly, Guys, I was playing my new Nintendo Switch for most of the day, so I wasn't really paying attention. I'm just trying to decompress. I am in decompression mode right now. But apparently Adam is going to be streaming later, but he needs to go to the gun store first. So good luck, Adam. Godspeed on that new gun, my friend. Let's see. Elizabeth says, imagine if he bought CNN. I mean, wouldn't that be something if wouldn't that be like the best thing ever? I mean, guys, honestly, okay, here's the thing. If I have to sacrifice a second Trump administration for Trump to go and buy CNN, that might be a sacrifice that I would be willing to make. That would be flipping hilarious. Oh, here's another thing that I was thinking about earlier, because thinking about the demographics of like who Trump lost, because again, we saw I'm going to actually do a video on this I think tomorrow. There was record minority turnout for Trump. Like I mean, like better, like Trump did better with minorities than any other GOP candidate has in decades. And the only demographic again that he went down in is white men. So wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if the white supremacists, actual white supremacists, based on what Richard Spencer decided to do when he endorsed Joe Biden, wouldn't it be funny if actual white supremacists were actually the thing that cost Donald Trump the election because they went and voted for Biden? Because they realized that Trump's not a racist? I mean, that would be pretty amazing. Naruto says Trump will make a new network and bury Fox News. Oh my God. Guys. Oh, I hate Fox News. I hate them. I hate them so, so, so much. It was awful. I actually ended up watching CNN for most of the night on election night. Like in the house in Florida, we had Fox News on in the big movie room. We had CNN on in the kitchen. We had MSNBC on in a bedroom, so you could kind of hop back and forth and check out whatever coverage you wanted. And Fox News was so awful. We were shouting at the screen at Fox News. And then even last night, I was like, hang on, let me pull up, like, I'm going to pull up a very specific tweet that I sent out that I accidentally turned on Fox News last night. I was like trying to get to my Roku to watch a movie and I accidentally turned it on to Fox News instead. And then like I had to keep watching because it was like an accident. It was like, I was like waiting for them to say something stupid. Let me see. What did I tweet out there? I actually tweeted out a quote. Here it is. Okay, hang on. Stand by. So I tweeted this out. This was an actual conversation that happened on Fox News yesterday afternoon. John Roberts says, I'm told the campaign has evidence ballots cast in the name of dead people. And Martha McCallum answers, well, that would be evidence that we need to see. And my response, and I actually said this out loud in my living room, is everyone on Twitter has already seen this. This was all over Twitter yesterday where people were tweeting out actual examples that you could go to state websites and look at to see that there are dead people that have literally cast votes in this election. This was all over Twitter yesterday. You can find all sorts of sources. You can try it out yourself. And Fox News apparently hasn't gotten the flipping memo yet. Fox. But they're screwed, especially guys. Oh my God, if Arizona flips, whoo, whoo, man, Fox is gonna have a problem. Oh my God, I just had a super chat jump. Sorry. Let me see. Trying to get back. Thank you guys for all the super chats. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, Solo19YT says old guard Republicans can be replaced. Well, they can't be replaced if the MAGA Republicans aren't joining the party and staying active, even if Trump loses. Okay? Can they be replaced? Yes, absolutely. They should be replaced, but not if people aren't stepping up and joining the party. That's why I will be joining the party. It's why I am thinking about running for office in 2022. I now have a very clear plan. If I decide to go that route, I'm not 100% on it yet, because I need to make sure that I'm making that decision in like a really good mental headspace, and I have more things planned out. But if we aren't getting involved and if we aren't doing something about it, then it's just going to go back, guys. It really will. Elisa says the problem is that if the Dems get away with fraud, they will do it every election and our vote won't matter. If they win, America is over. I mean, Alicia, I do agree with you that the Democrats are going to try to do this every election. I absolutely now think that the media is going to do this in every election. One of the scariest things, and this is something I talked about with Return to Reason, who he's a member of my locals community, but he also has his own YouTube channel. You guys have got to go subscribe to him. Return to Reason. This is all coming. What I'm about to explain comes from him. I did not make this up, and I want to fully credit him for it. He talked about how the media now has a playbook for how to push every election in whatever direction they want to go in. And that was true whether or not Trump won or lost. Because if Trump loses, then the media has a playbook that they can implement over and over and over again to get the outcome they want in any election through putting propaganda out there and lying. They know exactly what to do. But even if Trump wins, guys, they still almost got there. They still almost did it. And so it's just a matter of refining things. That is one of the scariest parts of all of this, and it's why none of us can give up if we don't get the reaction or the result that we want. Rhonda says keep it up. No, Naruto says no trolls except for the Vosh idiot trolls who contributed to your bank account. Yeah, what they're talking about is so Vosh's minions, some of them actually joined and became paid members of my locals so that they could access exclusive video I just do for my locals community and put it out there on the internet. I mean, I don't regret anything I say in any of my videos or any of my tweets, but the thing that I will say is like, if you want to pay me to troll me, I mean, you're welcome. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't put anything out there in video that I wouldn't say to any single one in person. So hi, Vosh's trolls. Hi. And you know what the thing of it is I've now been through 3 rounds of harassment with Vosh's minions. After the second one, I had to reconfigure my entire business because you guys don't know this. Like, it's not something I've ever talked about publicly. And let's just do a little side note here for a second because it's a Friday and whatever. Vosh's minions cost me the first time they came after me, and part of the second time, they cost me between $100,000 and $250,000 worth of business this year. And I don't know the exact amount because it really would have depended on a variety of factors, but that's the reality. And so after the second round of attacks from Vosh's trolls, I had to reconfigure my entire flipping business to make sure I was diversified in different ways so that they couldn't really do anything to me. And so the benefit of that is when they came after me for this third latest round of attacks that they inflicted on me is that I'm pretty much cancel proof right now. I have enough diversity in where I'm getting income that there's just not a whole heck of a lot that they can do about it anymore. And I've put measures in place to protect against them going after my business relationships. But what I really want you guys to understand, because I know this was like a controversy, and I've heard from people that no one believes me about the impact on my life. Vosh's minions cost me 6 figures worth of business in the last year, anywhere from 100 to up to as much as $250,000 worth of business. And so it is very real. And there are reasons that I'm pissed off about this. And you know what? You can believe it or not, I don't really give an F. But the good news is that I've fixed things now where I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference going forward. It's just more annoying than anything else. It's more aggravating that I have to take time out of my day to combat this nonsense. But we're going to move on now and hopefully never talk about him again. All right. Sergeant Hodel says, I hope Trump brings up how Dems cheated Bernie, Yang, and Tulsi, and he's not going to roll over like Bernie does. I hope he does too, man. I think Trump's going to fight up to the bitter end, and I think he should. And I think that's the way it should be. But once it's over, he needs to, if it doesn't go his way, he needs to concede and he needs to go off and do other things. And hopefully he can actually do things in much more effective ways that will still help people. It is what it is. All right, let me keep going. Have Tome says, if Biden Harris does win, I will use the same comment Jon Stewart used after Trump won. I will be positive and I hope they do good things and a good job. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, the reality is that whoever is in the presidency to be successful, I do. And I will cross my fingers and hope that whoever is making decisions in the Biden administration, because God knows it's not going to be Joe Biden, does end up doing good things. And I have to remind myself that a Joe Biden presidency is something I would have been fine with like 4 years ago. And, maybe ignorance is bliss. I don't know. Kristen Summers says, one thing that Trump has done is gotten a large mass interested in politics, and that's a good thing. They can't mess around when people are watching. I absolutely agree with that. Trump has given many, many, many gifts to us, and I think that's one of them. And I think that even if he doesn't end up pulling it off, then I think that he can still be a leader in this regard, and people are still going to listen to him because Trump has been right about like a freakish amount of things. He has been right about a freakish amount of things. And I'm gonna pay attention to what he says now. Now I don't always I think we always have to be careful to not take everything Trump says like 100% literally, because it shouldn't be. But I do pay attention to things he says now and I consider them. Okay. Jason Smythe says, should we do to them as they have done to us? It's tempting. It is tempting, Jason, but I'm going to throw that back on you and say, do you want to be just like them? Do you want to be like them? Do you want to be perceived as them? I sure as heck don't. JB says, 4 years of Biden could be the catalyst to further move the minds of the country to the right. Yeah, that absolutely could be. Guys, everything can have both positive and negative outcomes. And, Joshua and I talk about this quite a bit, is everything is neutral. It only has the meaning that you assign to it. So if you go into this, and again, if Biden wins, and we don't know, we do not know, we are not going to know for weeks what is going to happen. We don't know. But if Biden wins, then we have to try to assign some positive meaning to it. Because if we get in ourselves in a state of doom and gloom, if we get ourselves into a state of only thinking this is going to be the worst possible thing that's ever happened, well, then we are going to create that self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't want a civil war, guys. I don't. And I think that the people that are fanning the flames of there's going to be a civil war are being really irresponsible. I do. I think they're being really irresponsible. Um, and I think that everyone needs to do whatever they can to rein what is going on back in. And frankly, maybe if maybe if Trump wins, the Civil War would become a more inevitable possibility than if Biden wins. I don't know. That could be a positive outcome of it. I don't know. Let's see. Kilo Wolf says, "Any good Switch games since you got yours?" I literally just opened mine last night. And really, I'm playing like the old school Nintendo games right now. I love the old school Nintendo games. I'm playing like Super Mario Brothers 2. Super Mario Brothers 2 is the far superior of all the Super Mario Brothers games. I don't care what you guys think. I don't care how many of you like Super Mario 3 better. No, Super Mario 2 is far superior, and that's what I'm playing right now. I actually did play a little bit of Super Mario 3 too, but that's really what I like. I like the old school stuff. I'm trying right now. I don't know. Is there a way that I can get more of like the old school NES games on the Switch? I think that there is, and I'm trying to figure that out. Like to hack it. But that's probably something I'm gonna be working on because there are some games I want to play. I want to play Adventure Island. I want to play um no, I'm not going to play Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing can go F itself. Okay? No. No. Hard no. I do not consent to Animal Crossing. I don't understand why people like that game. So stupid. All right, but that's what I'm playing right now. Beefy McWhatnot says Trump Pence could run again in 2024 if they lose. Yeah, and I would think that he probably would do that, to be really honest. I don't think Trump would be able to help himself. NYBSFP says, not about Trump, not about all the Republicans or Democrats, 100% about propaganda, censorship, revisionism, political violence, elitism, race baiting, and if we show them it works, game over. I agree. Nate Hausman says, in my church, I learned that arguing doesn't work at convincing others. It's better to tell your story of how you got where you are. That is absolutely true, Nate. Those are words of wisdom right there. Sequitur to Tenebris, Walkaway needs to come to Alabama. I feel like a lot of people here need to see something other than the stereotypical Republican religious conservatives. Guys, Walkaway is not stopping. I can tell you that. Brandon's talked to us a little bit about the evolution that he sees of Walkaway, and I'm not going to spill the beans because I know that they're still figuring it out. I will tell you that what I expect to happen is that once all this is settled, they're going to be taking a little bit of a break. I know a lot of them. Walkaway is a very small team. It's very small. They do an awful lot. And I think they need like a little vacation. They need to go regroup. They need to go make some plans. But I can absolutely tell you that they are planning things for 2021 and it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to be involved as much as they want me to be involved. And so it's not stopping by any stretch of the imagination. Cumpy Franco said, thanks. This is what I needed to hear today. You're very welcome, my friend. David Spivey says, no one wins an argument. One person wins a debate. Everyone wins in a conversation. Absolutely right. Christopher Capek says, is Samantha Marika right? I don't know what that means, dude, but I'll look it up. Oh God, super chat jump. Sorry. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I lost my place. Oh, geez. Okay, here we go. Found it. Closet Disney Nerd says the election is not over yet. There's funny stuff going on. And two, whoever the American people elect needs to be president, whether we like it or not. Yes and yes. Just hunker down, guys. This is going to be going on for a while. All right, I'm just gonna do a quick plug because I've been on for a little over an hour now. I still have a bunch of super chats to get through. I still want to check in with my locals community, but I just want to say, guys, if you're enjoying this, I will be doing. I'm gonna be changing up the way I do content moving forward, and I'm gonna be iterating it, so it's not gonna be just like one fell swoop. I'm still gonna be doing daily content around things, but coming up after the election, I do have some plans. I'm gonna be opening up membership on my YouTube channel, so exclusive videos that I'm now just doing in my locals community are also going to become available for my YouTube members. It's going to be like the same pricing structure as my locals community because I don't want there to be any difference between the two. Frankly, guys, I would encourage you to join my locals, because with locals, you're going to get lots of extra benefits like access to Zoom calls. You're going to get access to our debate club, our book club that's going to be launching, things like that. You're going to be involved in like a wonderful close community. All the videos ad free, but I will be opening up membership on the YouTube channel. I'm also going to be starting to put my content in podcast form. So that's going to be coming as well. And you're just going to generally see some more structure around things that I just haven't been able to get to yet. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, now's a great time to do it, because now that things have calmed down, I'm going to be much more sane, and I appreciate all your ongoing support. All right, let me get back to my super chats. All right. OG Sin says, I can't believe Biden got more votes than Obama legitimately. Yeah, I don't believe he did either. I don't believe he did either. Beefy McWhatnot says, Biden has more votes than Obama in 2008. Red flags. I would think there would be red flags. Sasha, the book lover, says, what are you playing? Like I said, Sasha, I'm doing Super Mario 2 right now. I'm going to be playing that for a minute because that's my favorite game ever. Caveman81, hey, I really love your channel. Keep up the amazing work, and God bless President Trump and America. Thank you, thank you. Eric Burns Mars says, here's a little something for the legal fund to sue minions for tortious interference. No, I'm not suing anyone. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of lawsuits and that sort of thing, guys. It's just like I think it's generally just a distraction from doing actually things that are important. Elizabeth Barlow says, something to remember, Trump was a Democrat too. I think that is very, very true. Cassandra Leslie says, Flabbercappin' Vosh. Okay. Thank you. Elisa Gosage says, how much of our souls and beliefs do we have to sell to avoid a civil war? I don't think we have to sell any of our soul or beliefs. We don't have to sell anything to avoid a civil war. We just need to behave like rational, reasonable human beings. That's it. We don't need to sell out our beliefs. We are allowed to live in a society where we can disagree with one another, and we have to act like it. I know that the left does not act like it, but we have to act like it. And that's what we need to do. And the rest of it has to be worked out through conversation. That's how this is supposed to work, guys. All right. Solo19YT says, we can maintain this new movement if we don't give it a stupid name that can be demonetized and stereotyped. I agree. That would be a very good branding exercise. And the last super chat I have, at least for right this second, is Polaris Electrons, excuse me. Have you read the book like War, the Weaponization of Social Media? I have not. I just started watching that documentary on Netflix about how creepy the monetization is of social media and how it's really unhealthy for us. And that's terrifying to me, which is why I am really trying to rein in my social media activity. I know I'm on Twitter a lot right now, but Twitter is like the worst possible social media ever. Twitter is awful. And so I'm going to be, once this is kind of decided, I'm really going to be changing my usage of Twitter because it's not healthy. I barely even use Facebook anymore for anything other than just like posting stuff or like checking in with a few of my friends. Really going forward, guys, and I'll even say, I'm not even watching YouTube right now. I am not watching anything on YouTube, not purposefully, because I think that a lot of creators on YouTube are just really, really effing negative. And I'm tired of taking that in. It doesn't make me feel healthy. It doesn't make me feel good. I'm still going to post on YouTube. I'm going to be doing my videos on YouTube, but I'm really trying to detox from as much really bad social media as I possibly can, and just really focus on myself and what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there. So I'm really focusing about Elizabeth. I'm really not just talking about him. I'm talking about everyone. And I'm just gonna leave that there. Listen, like here. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I think Tim Pool is exceptionally smart. I think he has a gift when it comes to putting together information. I don't always think he's the most helpful in terms of, not facilitating a civil war. But I understand why people watch it. but he's not the only one I'm talking about. He's not. Like, almost every creator I see right now is angsty, they're angry, and I found that for me, the more that I was watching this stuff and the more of this I was consuming, the more angry and angsty I got. And I'm not okay with that. You guys all have to make your own decisions. I'm not telling you who to watch. I'm not telling you who not to watch. You should watch whatever you want. But for me, I need to stop because I need to be in a good place and I need to be happy. And that's what it is. So I'm really going to be focusing on just producing my content, putting stuff out there, and my locals community moving forward. And that's all I can really do. All right, I'm just going to check in. Speaking of my locals community, um, again, I do want to just say, guys, I want to encourage everyone to join us in locals. Locals is awesome. I mean, I have so many good people, and like it's just they're good people. They're good people. They come from all over the world. We get together, we do stuff together. We have Zoom calls all the time where we sit around, chit chat, support each other, especially through this crazy nonsense. I'm going to be doing an lot more of those moving forward. So I would encourage everyone to join, get involved. Again, the information to join my locals is down there somewhere. It's kb.locals.com. Now it is completely free to join just to like see what's going on and see what's being posted in the community, but there are special benefits to being a supporter. And if you want to become a supporter, it's like $5 a month and you can get a free month by using the promo code welcome. All right, I am losing my voice. I can barely talk. So I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to sit on my butt and I'm going to keep playing my Nintendo Switch for a little while. But thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other. This is going to go on for a while, and try to look at this scenario in the best possible way that you can look at it. And you're responsible for what you put out in the world. No one else is responsible for that. So make sure you're doing what you can to contribute to the experience that you want. All right, guys, I will be back at you with more content soon. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great weekend.